So I've always been a serial entrepreneur. I actually dropped out of school when I was 17. I was always very interested in crypto. I was the founder of the UT Blockchain Club in Texas. On Ethereum, we raised a little under $4 million in venture capital. Last year, I released this big manifesto about building the billion-dollar revenue neobank or DeFi bank. Best part is that the card is totally free. It's accessible.
So basic function similar to Wise, right? Like the TransferWise company?
Pretty close. We like to think our product's a lot better. Credit card companies typically get a portion of the sale. Everyone's familiar with the 3% number. You can make a company that offers similar services, but is much more profitable and shares more value with the users. And like, that's Web3. That's what we all...
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 78 of Color Web3s and Entrepreneurship. My name is Lum, your Web3 host. For those of you who are new to the show, Color is a Web3 and Entrepreneurship is a show highlighting the journeys of builders and innovators in Web3 and entrepreneurship. Some topics, especially in Web3, may get technical, but we do our best to keep it accessible for most people. Here today, I'm joined by Slater Heil. He's the head of marketing at EtherFi. Slater, could you give a quick introduction about yourself?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Lem. And don't worry, audience, this one will definitely not be technical. I am one of the only non-technical guys on the EtherFi team, but so yeah, should be pretty accessible for a wide audience. But yeah, really appreciate you having me, man. Happy to be here and talk about cash a little bit.
Awesome, yeah. And I think the audience would definitely be interested in knowing about like what you did before EtherFi. So would you walk maybe pick a point of time from maybe after university or something, and then walk us forward up until the present day, just to know about your professional background, how you got into Web3 as well.
Yeah, for sure. So I've always been a serial entrepreneur. I actually dropped out of school when I was 17 in my second year of college, and again, always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And so I joined a startup company called Trendsetter. It was like a social commerce company that did like tags for clothes and let people earn affiliate fees from the brands they were wearing. And we tried to do like an AI thing as part of it, but the tech was just a little bit too early, raised some money. Ultimately, the company wound down after a few years, but I got some really good startup experience there. And then I moved back to California, where I'm from, and got into the legal hemp and cannabis business that has kind of just been opened up. And I'm from a big agriculture town, so there were lots of investors for this kind of thing. And that was my first startup company. We grew to one of the largest brands and distributors in California. But honestly, I was always very interested in crypto. I was the founder of the UT Blockchain Club in Texas, and always wanted to make this my career. And so after a few years, I sold my shares to a family office who still operates it today, and moved full-time into crypto. And so for a few years, I just kind of ran a fund with personal capital and one of my friends. We were just partners on it. But really, I'm a builder at heart, right? So I was itching to go build something. And then I landed on the idea for a leveraged money market in about 2022 or early 2022. It was called Blueberry. And it was a leveraged money market on Ethereum. We raised a little under $4 million in venture capital from a number of bigger funds, and then Chainlink was one of the major investors and backers of the project. And we ultimately did have a successful launch. We went from 0 to like 12 million in TVL in the first month. But unfortunately, we kind of, one of my co-founders pushed the wrong branch of code to mainnet, and we had a pretty silly hack that kind of killed the momentum. And, it was a big bummer for a while, but it was also an awesome experience. And we were able to recover those funds for users and kind of make everybody whole. But ultimately ended up moving on from that project earlier this year. And yeah, I've always really wanted to like realize the value of crypto and make something that users actually want that can outcompete TradFi. And I really felt like EtherFi was one of the only companies in the space that was in the process of accomplishing that goal. And EtherFi earlier last year released this big manifesto about building the billion-dollar revenue neobank or DeFi bank, and that really resonated with me. And I had worked with Rock and the team a little bit in the past, so I reached out. They were looking for a head of marketing, which, believe it or not, EtherFi has never had a head of marketing or even a marketing person until only a few months ago when I joined. But yeah, ended up getting the role, and just really excited about everything that we're doing and this cash product that we're launching. I feel like we're really moving the space forward, and excited to talk to you guys about it today.
Wow, super awesome. Yeah, I think that's really inspiring story in there that you share. So basically, you were doing like
Thank you.
some e-commerce back in the day, and then in a way, and then got
Yeah,
into like the I don't know, cannabis cannabis
yeah.
business. Okay, wow, you jump over so many things, and then I think you said you got into you were like running a blockchain club at university.
Yeah, that was back in university, so it was kind of always
Okay,
where my heart and interests
got it.
were. But then,
Okay,
yeah, started the fund, then started the protocol, and then ended up
nice.
here.
Nice, nice. Can you share a bit more about like Blueberry? I think the leverage money market you guys were building, and then yeah. So I mean, sounds like you raised some money, but then unfortunately it got hacked. I think which is probably happened to a lot of other projects, right? So it's
Yeah,
not only yours that
for sure.
got hacked. Yeah, and then were you guys able to recover all the funds from there? And what happened after that? I'm curious.
Yeah, we did recover all the money, so that was a big win. But it did kind of take the wind out of the sails of the project. And actually, my co-founders have launched a new product. I don't want to, take up the airtime of this show talking about Blueberry too much, since I'm obviously full time with EtherFi now. But yeah, I think they have a real shot to turn things around, and they're still building some great stuff. But yeah, the EtherFi mission really resonated with me, and I really wanted to help them succeed, and what we're trying to do here. So ended up moving here.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's great to hear for sure. And what was the first thing you learned about Web3? I guess you were running the club. Like, was it Bitcoin, Ethereum, or something else?
Yeah,
In between.
probably the first thing I learned was to buy every ICO, right? And then I learned that that wasn't a very good thing to know.
I see.
But yeah, I mean, 2016, 2017 is when I really got interested in the space, and I mean, this idea of decentralized capital formation really felt like there was something there. But obviously, almost all of or all those companies ended up being scams. It was just a little. It's kind of one of the Achilles heels of crypto is that it's a little bit too easy for founders to raise money and then just kind of either soft rug or hard rug that from their investors. And so yeah, that was the second lesson I learned. But really the aha moment for me was DeFi in 2020. I was like, okay, here's not just a way to raise money and give it to people, but here's actually a way we could form capital on chain and put it to work in a way that is not ruggable. At least, I mean, people still rugged it in various ways, but you know what I mean. That is at least being
Yeah.
productive in a smart contract, and maybe that smart contract is has rescinded ownership and is completely permissionless and actually has a real use case. And I was like, wow, we could actually build not just decentralized versions of existing products, but totally new products. And that's when I really wanted to double down in the space and get involved, and was kind of the inspiration for becoming a founder.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. Cool. Yeah. I think many of you also got in this way during the ICO boom, right? And then, but I think yeah, really DeFi 2020 is like when you have more building blocks, like you said, right? DeFi, and then DeFi was born and gave a bunch of building blocks that created many other interesting, like I guess, tools and things that make the decentralized world more exciting for sure, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool. Cool.
absolutely.
Yeah, nice. And yeah, one quick question before we deep dive into EtherFi. Can you share with us what you do for fun in your free time?
Sure. Yeah. During the last year, I got pretty into pickleball, which some people make fun of me for, and some people think is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm like a pretty high duper in pickleball, and I like to play 3 or 4 times a week. It's good kind of soft cardio, and it's just a fun game to try and solve.
Interesting.
And so I do that a lot.
Nice. You go to like a pickleball court or place to play, right?
Yeah, they have like a lot of clubs, I guess, that
Clubs.
are. I
Okay.
like to play indoors, have the wind and the weather, and so
Nice.
I'll usually do that.
Cool.
But yeah, they're super popular in Austin. I just moved from Austin to New York City, so I'll have to find a new place in New York now.
Interesting. Yeah, quite random, but I just got like a pickleball. What is it? Racket, pickleball racket, and a ball.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice
just
paddle.
only one racket, though, paddle, and one ball. So I guess I could
Did
play
you
some indoor. Yeah.
did you get a nice one, or you go with the wood
It's
starter?
actually well, believe it or not, I went to a Web3 conference event, and actually that was one thing that they gave
Oh, they
me.
gave it away. There you
Yeah,
go.
they gave it away. It's really random actually, but no, I think it's really high quality. Obviously, that company didn't make the pickleball, but or the racket, but
Sure.
yeah, but it's still high quality.
It's
I tried a couple of times indoors, and yeah,
There you
the ball
go.
bounce.
It's
Yeah.
once you start buying the $100 or $200 paddles, then you're hooked. You're like, no, I got to
Oh,
get
okay.
good at this game. So just be
I see.
careful. It's a
Yeah.
slippery slope.
Yeah, okay. I actually I don't even know the rules of pickleball, so I was just like hit the walls and let it bounce back, and when you play single over there. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you have to learn the rules as well. That's cool though.
Yeah, there's some finicky parts.
Yeah, so without further ado, let's go ahead and deep dive into EtherFi. Would love to learn more about like what you guys are building. Feel free to maybe share a little bit about the history and origin of how the company got started as well, and then yeah, feel free to afterwards share any presentation or slide or deck or demo so we can
Yeah,
see.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll kind of start from the beginning as best I can. And obviously giving the caveat here, which I might have mentioned at the beginning, but I only joined EtherFi about 3 months ago.
Hmm.
I've been tracking its evolution for a long time, and obviously I've heard a lot of the story from the guys internally. But I can only represent the beginnings as well as I can. But yeah, obviously EtherFi started. I mean, it was actually originally a hedge fund, and so Mike had a similar journey to mine, but at a much higher scale. He was a serial entrepreneur and ran Top Hat, the ed tech company that became very successful, and he worked on that for about 12 years, and eventually got a very substantial exit there, and wanted to go full time into crypto. And so he originally started EtherFi as a hedge fund, and that was kind of how he got into the space, but then saw an opportunity with liquid staking, and kind of right as they were building the liquid staking protocol or had already built it, restaking became this new concept that all of a sudden was generating a lot of buzz. And they were early adopters to that concept and built one of the first liquid restaking tokens. And I think one of the things that really sets EtherFi apart is that Mike brought a lot of his, not a lot, but some of his team previously from Top Hat to the space, and Mike just has a lot of really strong operational principles and leadership that he brings over from having such a long run running a Web2 company, and I think we're very execution oriented and very process oriented, and not as kind of pie in the sky as other crypto protocols, and so. They obviously won the restaking wars, and I think did so with just really sound business principles of just executing every single day on business development, direct sales, and just winning with product. And yeah, I think it was really impressive to watch the team execute kind of from afar during that entire trend, and that's kind of what gave EtherFi the base to become what it is today. And many teams would have kind of stopped there, right? Of like, okay, we won this huge market, let's just sustain it. But Mike had bigger plans, and the team had bigger plans. And so I think I mentioned earlier last year, I think it was June of last year, they released this kind of, I guess, manifesto about how they're going to build the first $1 billion ARR DeFi protocol, and do so by basically building a DeFi bank, right? Like a consumer facing full financial services application that can kind of cover all your day-to-day needs. And that was obviously a very ambitious proposal, especially at the time. And yeah, over the last year, kind of the beginning of that was, let's launch a bit different of yield products that appeal maybe to a wider audience. Let's onboard new assets. So we had the launch of EBTC, EUSD, and then liquid assets. So liquid assets are kind of these proprietary strategies that use vault managers and that kind of Veda infrastructure that became popular last year as well, and aim to deliver higher yields than you'd be able to realize from just a staked asset in kind of this proprietary way. And so that was kind of the next step, is let's offer a product that is a little bit more differentiated than just staking and restaking from the rest of the market. And then after that, also found product market fit. It's like, okay, well, now we have these assets across different asset classes, whether that's stable coins or crypto assets that people can hold and people can earn income on. What's the next step? It's to allow them to access those assets in the real world, right? And actually use them for payments in their day-to-day lives. And so that was the idea behind Cash, and worked on Cash for a while, but only really officially launched it publicly in May of this year. And so it's only been about 4 months, and we're already the biggest on-chain card program by a pretty wide margin. Especially in this last week, we've seen some extreme parabolic growth, especially in countries like Brazil and Taiwan, also very popular in the US. And yeah, I think it just again speaks to the kind of product forward mindset of the company and kind of ability to execute on these really ambitious things where it felt like a pretty far away goal to be able to use stablecoins in crypto in day-to-day life. But the product that the team has created, which I'm excited to show everybody, is I think it's really special. It really does match and outcompete TradFi at pretty much every level, but is built for crypto native, right? So you still have full custody and control of your assets. It's a non-custodial protocol, but that's also combined with a familiar Web 2 like user experience, right? Where you just put in your email and a one-time password and a passkey, and you can get into your account. You don't have to do any other setup than that. And then you have stable coins and your stake and liquid assets sitting in your wallet, and you're able to actually access spending power in real life in one of two ways. You can either be in direct pay mode, which just directly takes stable coins from your account and uses them to pay in real life, or you can be in borrow mode, which is kind of like an Aave account in your pocket where you actually borrow against your whole portfolio in real time with every swipe. And for either mode, you have no fees, right? It's like there's been crypto cards for a while, but usually you have to pay like $50 to $100 to get it started up, and then they have super high transaction fees and you pay gas and the user experience is a nightmare. But no, this is finally like a unified account where you can still have control over your assets, but the experience is just like you're using a real world bank. And on top of that, you get high cash back. So really a complete product and service for our users. And yeah, I'm excited to kind of dive into a demo. I can pull up a screen whenever you want and go
Sure,
through.
please. Yeah, yeah, go for it. Yeah, would love to see how it works.
So I am no whale compared to some of our other users, but here is my account in its current state. So you can see the vault balance at the top, and this
Hmm.
actually essentially shows your assets minus your spend. So I currently have it in borrow mode, which means that I am borrowing against the whole portfolio. I have 3.65 liquid ETH, some USDC, and some scroll from cashback.
Okay.
And so you can see here the value of the assets in total. But if you change it to collateral view, then you see the loan to value ratios for each of the assets and your total net spending power as a result of that. And you can actually just repay your debt whenever you want. Right now, it's a fixed APY, and you just fund it with stable coins to repay your debt on whatever time period that you want. And
I
again,
see.
with every spend,
You don't have to repay
you
the
get,
whole balance, right? You can just repay
yeah,
a
no,
proportion.
it's just like an Aave account in that regard, right?
Mm.
Where you
Ah,
can kind
okay.
of just let the debt roll forever if you
Yeah,
want. So especially if you're a huge whale, let's say you have 500 BTC, you could kind of just leave it in eBTC, right? And leave it in your account and spend against it whenever you want while earning the rewards that come with eBTC at the
I
same
see.
time, and kind of just let it run like that as long as you want. And probably the most marketable and most popular feature about EtherFi is that you get high cash back with every swipe. And so it depends on your tier typically, but until the end of the year, actually every single tier is getting either 3% or more on every single transaction. And you could see the cash back hit in real time instantly. So like typically if you're using a credit card, it requires you to redeem at like the end of some cycle, right? And then get your cash back whenever form that you want. Not only is this 3% of everything, it literally happens instantly. And you also get cash back when you refer users. So I've referred quite a few users. So you can see all these little stimmies coming into my account constantly as
Nice.
people make transactions. So that's pretty much the experience for the spending side of things. But then, of
Yeah,
course, we also have the ability to stake or deposit assets into liquid, which you can then transfer into your vault. And I don't currently have my wallet connected, so I won't demonstrate those features. I think people are pretty familiar with that too, right? You just
yeah.
either stake or deposit an asset. It's basically the same process as staking for crypto conferences. Lots of exclusive things like that as you level up more, as well as higher levels of cashback. And finally, what I think is maybe one of the coolest features on here is EtherFi hotels. You did it bounce you to yeah, here you go. Let me share the screen instead. So
Nice.
yeah, EtherFi travel is I think probably the best booking site that I've seen in the world right now. The hotels that you're able to access are pretty much all of them, but most importantly, at least for me, is the really nice ones. Often these hotels will be going for thousands of dollars a night, and you'll be able to get them for hundreds, often like 60% off, or 40 or 50, depending on the hotel. I've been looking around at Singapore for Token 2049, so we could actually demonstrate this live and just show you the level of deals that you're able to get off these things. And you could go like compare these live to what you find on booking.com or
Yeah.
Priceline or all these other popular booking sites. And you'll see pretty clearly that the discounts are insane, right? Like would typically be an $8,000 trip. It's $3,500. This would be $1,500 typically. It's
Half
$748.
off. Yeah, half off. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. And those are like these are like the real advertised rates that you see on their website or other booking sites. Like you really can't beat these prices. It's pretty insane, especially if you're a crypto person that travels all the time for conferences, right? Because everybody's always on the circuit. So I think a really cool differentiated feature here.
Awesome. Yeah, no, this is awesome. Thanks for the comprehensive walkthrough there. It's really good to see, what EtherFi enable people to do. So basically the money that's packed in there would also grow, right? Because you
Yeah,
can
exactly,
like
right.
stake and earn and yeah.
Yeah, so
Mm.
I try not to speak too much to the rewards available because they're obviously variable and it would
Hmm.
require a fair amount of legal disclaimers. But yeah, you are able to deposit into our liquid vaults or our staking vaults and then use those as collateral assets. And obviously, you earn rewards on those assets at the top of the cashback. And so it could be a really great tool to grow your whole portfolio.
That's awesome. So cool. Yeah. So wait for EtherFi, I'm curious. So for people, who wondering like how can they get the cards, like what would be required? Because I guess that's probably some of the more commonly asked question, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably the most important feature. I think I get caught up in all the rewards and the system and like the uniqueness of the bar mode and things like that a lot. But probably the best part is that the card is totally free. It's accessible in many countries around the world. I can't state them all specifically; it would take too long. and, but yeah, I think the easiest way to check is just go to Ether.fi/cash. It's totally globally accessible in tons of different countries, and the card is on the Visa network, and so it can be used anywhere that a Visa can be used all around the world. Even if the card is not able to be issued in that country, it's often still usable in those countries. And so, yeah, super accessible, super available for payments pretty much everywhere. And even getting a physical card is free. And so I think that's one of the biggest differentiators for us versus a lot of the rest of the crypto cards. Is usually like there's some high staking requirement, or like the cashback is like big points, or it costs $50 to get a card or $100 to level up your tier. With EtherFi, it's all free. I mean, your tier does level up depending on your activity, which is normal, right? But yeah, we want to make it as seamless as possible and as close to like a real world banking experience as possible. And so yeah, it's super easy to get set up. You can start with a small amount, see if you like it, and then scale up from there. You can add it to Apple Pay like instantly as soon as you get through your verification process. Boom, add it to Apple Pay. You could pay right now today. And then if you want to order a physical card, it depends. It'll take anywhere between like 3 business days and like 14, just how card shipping always goes, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, they're pretty nice. And we're going to be able to ship the metal cards for the higher tiers sometime in Q4. But no matter your tier, you can order a plastic one right now, and they're still really high quality. So go for it.
Nice. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think the metal card is pretty nice to like hold and feel in your hands, right? Yeah,
Everybody
much better.
wants the metal card, man. I help manage the
Right?
Twitter, and every day it's like, when metal
I
card, when
know.
metal card, when metal card.
I
I'm
know, right?
just
Yeah.
starting to resort to longer and longer versions of soon with more O's in
Yeah.
them every time. So
Yeah.
yeah, it
For
ties the
sure.
people over. But yeah, they should be shipping
Yeah.
soon, next few months.
Cool, cool. That's awesome. Yeah. I feel like the metal card probably, I guess like two nice thing I can think off the top of my head. One is that I feel like it will more resistant to like damage, right? In general, versus plastic.
Yeah,
Plastic you can actually kind of bend, but like yeah, for the metal, I don't think you can easily bend it. And then also like the prestige. image, in a way, right?
Of
Like when
course.
we
Yeah.
when you pull out the, I don't know, plastic versus the metal, usually people are like, "Ooh, metal. This must be
Oh, for
like
sure.
fancy card,
To
right?"
do
Yeah,
the,
yeah, yeah.
I only have my WeWork card here, but people do the drops, the drop test, see what noise it makes. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be a really cool little status symbol to have, depending on your tier. People ask me for the gold card all the time. The VIP tier is pretty hard to get to. I'm not going to lie. It's
Yeah,
mostly whales and people that use the protocol a lot, but yeah, that sexy shiny gold card, man. Everybody's like, man, I need that. So I'm excited to launch those for sure.
for sure. Yeah, for sure. So how many points we will need to get to that the gold one, the shiny, the
So
Lux one,
the
right? Yeah.
it's an intentional mystery. So I can't
Okay.
reveal the secrets
Got it.
publicly on
Got it.
how you get to VIP. It's kind
Got
of a
it.
case by case thing. But it's
Gotcha.
people who are really putting a lot of their time and effort and energy and like day to day personal lives into using EtherFi products and are a really bought in member of the community, of course. You actually can't get enough points to level up to VIP. The points go from core to Lux to Pinnacle. And to be fair,
Yeah.
you're getting very similar benefits. At the other tiers, it's really just like a few exclusive things that you get on top of VIP. And you also get the 4% cash back and everything, which is a huge draw for a lot of people. So, what I would say if you want to get up to VIP is, I mean, feel free to reach out to us in general, and we could try to get you a path there, and then just use the product a ton. Like we try to kind of select people sometimes that we see are power users without us telling them to do anything, or asking them to do anything. And like, wow, this person clearly really loves our product and is using it for their daily lives, and we want to augment that for them. And so that's as clear as I am allowed to be about it.
Makes sense. Yeah, no, that's really awesome as well. Yeah. No, yeah. But I'm sure people always like fancy. I don't know. I feel like the golden color is always a nice color for credit cards, right? Because obviously it's like
Yeah.
the shiny gold. Yeah, yeah.
Maybe we'll
Cool.
have to do the solid gold card thing too. Like I saw Robinhood drop that recently, and it went super viral, right? Like everybody's all excited. It's like an actual 24 karat gold credit card. Imagine carrying that thing around in your wallet, just like drop it
Right?
in. It's like makes a thump every time you use it. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it's actually an interesting test. I haven't done that test yet. Maybe next time I'll do it. That's something cool. And I'm curious, like how does a card work? I guess for those who are like a bit more technical and product minded, like how does a card actually like function, right? Under the hood, you can speak
Oh
a little bit
man,
about that. Yeah,
I don't know if I'm the
just to the
best
best of your
person to
ability.
answer this question, but I will do
Oh,
my
good. Just
best.
some basic. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And so we have a partner issuer company, right, that actually issues the cards themselves. And then basically we've just set up a kind of customized settlement system on chain. And so all the settlement happens on Scroll, which is awesome because it's incredibly low cost and allows us to kind of cover the gas and transaction fees for the user. So everything is free. There's no fee per transaction, anything like that. And then, yeah, basically the stable coins offset what the real world fiat spend is, and that's settled on a regular basis. And I honestly have so little context and information on exactly how that works that I probably would be betraying the company by trying to dive a little bit deeper, especially because of how new I am. So I apologize. If your audience is pretty interested in that, maybe I could have our head of Venge or something join another time, and he can speak
Oh,
to it
good.
more.
Oh, good. Oh,
Yeah.
good. Sounds good. But I guess the important part for people to know for the user, right? Is like you basically well, if you have a virtual card, it's just like you spend from your either Apple or Google Wallet, right? Like beef with the
Yep.
NFC, and then if you have the physical card, then well, it just function like just any other physical card. So
Yeah,
pretty easy, right?
exactly. Again, it's just
Yeah.
it's very close to using a real world bank. Oh, you know what? One of the other things I forgot to mention earlier in the product demo, as I did preview Splashback. So Splashback
Yeah.
is still a beta feature for us. We haven't launched to the public yet, but it's coming soon. So comfortable talking about it to the audience. And the other thing that is, you actually can go turn it on in your settings right now if you want, is if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see bank transfers. So this is kind of one of the last pieces to really make it feel like a bank. Is you actually, it works on SEPA, IBAN, SWIFT, and you actually have a real checking account number basically that you can transfer money to and from, and you can actually even send wires right out of your account from stable coins. And so we've had some like power users who are big angels in the space start to make seed checks from it. We've had somebody like transfer money for the down payment for a house. We've had people start to do some really crazy things all from their EtherFi account. And so that's super exciting too. We haven't launched it publicly yet. Again, still in beta, still finishing testing. But yeah, you can toggle it on in settings if you're willing to be kind of a beta tester for the time being. Yeah, super excited about that. And it's going to kind of complete the neobank offering.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. That's awesome. So basically, people will have like a virtual bank account. Is that correct? In the
It kind
and
of
then they
it's
can
through Bridge is the partner that we use, the kind of
bridge.
strike
Yeah,
back company. But yeah, it feels a lot like it, right? Like you can deposit to an account and routing number, or you can send wires in and out, or ACH in and out. So it feels pretty much identical.
makes sense. Yeah. So basic function similar to Wise, right? Like the transfer Wise company, like the
Yeah,
way it
yeah,
works. Yeah. Yeah. So you can.
pretty close. We like to think our product's a lot better, but yeah,
Okay.
we get
Yeah.
compared to them for sure.
Yeah. Well, I just name it like that because I think most people are kind of familiar with it, right? At least like
For
international
sure.
people because they use it. Okay. That makes sense. Oh, yeah, I think it's really cool too. Ability to have like like new account, so you don't need to rely on a bank anymore per se, right? You know what I mean? Like because if you
Exactly.
have your bank account here, then it's kind of need to. That's cool. Yeah. So just curious, could you guys share a bit about like the business models behind the card for what EtherFi is doing? Is it like percentage of transaction or what? Was there something else?
Yeah, for sure. So, if anybody wants to kind of deep dive into this that's watching this, I would recommend you tune into our analyst calls, which we do about once every 6 weeks, and we kind of report line by line
Interesting.
revenue and in a pretty clear picture. I think that's one of the coolest things that we do, especially if you're like a traditional markets oriented person and you like to see all the gritty nitty gritty details behind a company. We go pretty in depth there. But what I can speak to is kind of the general model. So it is evolving and it is quite complex, at least on the cash side of things. There's like a million little fees and revenues in different directions. But the main thing is just interchange fees, right? Like credit card companies typically get a portion of the sale. Everyone's familiar with the 3% number. So we get a portion of that, not as much as we'd like to, but yeah, as we start to do more volume, that number will increase over time. And so the 1% referral revenue that we share with users is a lot of the revenue that we currently earn from the product. But the bet is that we'll keep to these Web3 values of sharing a lot of our revenues with users, and that margin will increase a lot over time as we get to a bigger scale and we get closer to the processors, the Visas and MasterCards of the world. And so, yeah, right now the revenues are, you can actually also see this all. I'll send these links to you to put in the published version of this. We have Dune dashboards and we publicly
Sure.
report all of our revenue streams from the different products. Yeah, so we earn mainly interchange there, and then a few other, complex small things back and forth, not really worth diving into here. And then on the staking business, we take a 10% performance fee, which we then split with other involved infrastructure providers. And similar model to Liquid, we have the curator and strategy manager, and we take revenue splits with them. And again, all three products can be you can track the revenue publicly on chain, and we just finished integrating with like Alea and Artemis and Token Terminal and a number of these big research and reporting companies. If you want to get a in-depth view, feel free to go look at that stuff live whenever you want. But yeah, one of the cool things about it from the business perspective is EtherFi executed so well early on that we raised a lot of money and we barely touched it because we've been a profitable company for pretty much the entire existence of the company. And so we have this really rare combination of product market fit in a new category that's highly scalable, right? It's one of the biggest markets in the world with payments, more features coming online, and constant shipping of new products to grow the business. But at the same time, we're extremely profitable and extremely high growth. We're growing almost 200% year over year. So yeah, I think it's just really stands out from the crowd in terms of all three of those things happening at the same time. And it's one of the reasons we can afford to kind of offer such awesome benefits on the card is because we're so profitable elsewhere that it just makes sense to stay in growth mode until we can really increase our margins on that side and share as much as possible value with our users. think that's really hard to replicate. Is my point. Even if you have a really cool card startup.
Yeah, I bet. Well, I think that's really impressive because I think we both know that being on Web3 for quite a while, right? Most Web3 company kind of struggle with, like the revenues and also like being, profitable. I think being profitable is actually really hard bar, right? I think it's like a high bar for Web3 business because most of them, I don't know, I don't want to name names, but like I've seen many that raise money and just keep burning through the cash, right? But yeah, this is really awesome to hear that the company has already been like profitable. I think that's a already big achievement for a
Yeah,
Web3 company, and will be like
it's
a young
just
Web3 company too. Yeah. Mm.
it really just speaks to I think the leadership quality of Mike and Rock and kind of the Web 2 experience. Like having these strict expectations. Like, no, we're actually going to make money as a company, and we're going to take these principles to the Web 3 space. And yeah, I'm really happy they embedded those principles, and Hyperliquid's obviously starting to really lead the charge there as well, just printing money with such a small team. But I think like that is the special part about Web 3, and that's what I'm just so excited to see so much more of. Is like if you make a product right, you actually do unlock a lot of operational efficiency that you can't really replicate in TradFi. Like tokenization unlocks so much operational efficiency to basically be the back end of this DeFi bank product, right? And all of a sudden you can make a company that offers similar services but is much more profitable and shares more value with the users. And like that's Web 3. That's what we all came here for, and that's what we all want to see happen in the real world. So yeah, excited to be leading the charge there with this team, and just excited to see a lot more of that going forward. It seems like it's kind of become a new focus of the industry. It's like, okay, like, let's finally make some money. We're done just burning VC dollars and retail dollars. So thank God. So
Yeah, yeah. I'm also glad to hear that too. Yeah, there's got to be someday when you actually make the money and return back, right? And then for users, no, that's really cool. And yeah, so well, if the company is doing so well, then is there any potential challenges that face your company, EtherFi?
Yeah, I mean, I think any startup always does its best to appear as perfect as possible externally, but starting a payments business is really hard. I mean, there's challenges we deal with all the time, especially with the level of scale that we've been hitting recently. Like we actually tweeted about this. So I'm happy to talk about it. We had our backend get pretty overloaded last week. We went from like adding 150 users a day to 1,600 users a day. So like we 10x'd it in the single day's traffic, and the traffic did even more than a 10x. And so the system got pretty overwhelmed. They had to like fix a bunch of KYC stuff. Everybody's in the war room all day, every day. And so I think it just really speaks to the fact that like, no matter how amazing a company looks from the outside, no matter how perfect things look, like, man, on the inside, it's just like constantly putting out fires, constantly executing, constantly solving problems, especially when you're scaling really fast. And yeah, I think it doesn't get talked about enough. Honestly, it's kind of the hardest part is when you are succeeding, like making sure you can keep up with it, and keep your users happy, and make sure things aren't breaking. But yeah, we have a really awesome, capable dev team. Like everybody in this team works like 12 to 16-hour days. It's absolutely insane. I've never seen anything like it. It's people are just on call all the time, making sure things are fixed, making sure things work really well for the end user. But yeah, nothing's ever a cakewalk, and it's I think because we just have this kind of commitment internally where if things are breaking, like we're going to solve it right now, and people are going to get on the phone at 2 a.m. and figure it out. That lets us deal with those things and come out on the other side a bigger and better company. But yeah, it's never easy. I think that's true pretty much everywhere.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think with a hardworking team and yeah, but no, I think it's also really awesome with the growth that you guys are getting though, like 10x the number of user, and so obviously
It's
the
been
back end is definitely gonna get overloaded by any tech company. I mean, if you do like 10x a year, like so sounds like you probably already got on like the growth phase, I would say, right, of the company as like
Yeah, for
growing
sure.
super fast.
For
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, hopefully it gets
Mm.
even crazier. Hopefully we do 100,000 users in a day soon, and break the back
Yeah.
end again and fix it
Yeah,
again.
that'll be
So
awesome. Or maybe like it. That's awesome. Yeah, so I'm curious. Just a couple more questions before close the show. One is that yeah, how do you envision like Web3 crypto card evolving in the future?
yeah, I think the goal for us is super clear, and I think the goal for the industry is becoming super clear now that it doesn't feel like there's as much regulatory pressure. Is like, let's go outcompete the banks. Like, let's use the operational efficiencies that using smart contracts gives us. Let's use tokenization. Let's use the ability to get a community behind you by sharing tokens and sharing revenue with them. And let's just offer better terms than we can do in TradFi. And I think one of the things that is going to be really important is also getting to the TradFi level of privacy and security. So, I mean, we're working on a number of new security and privacy features, working on a collaborative project with Scroll to have full privacy implemented. Obviously, there's no way to connect it back to your actual KYC information or anything like that, but currently you can see the public transaction on the blockchain. It's a smart contract protocol. And so, yeah, I think leveling up privacy is something we're really focusing on right now. We're going to be shipping features for that in the very near future. I mean, at that point, if you have the same level of security and privacy, the same level of user experience, and you can offer better terms, like, let's do it. Let's go take down the banks. Let's go take all their market share and take all their AUM. I mean, TVL. and yeah, I think that should be the North Star for really the entire industry. And it's starting to happen in both directions. Like, I think there are big card companies and banks who are starting to go the opposite direction, right? And using more smart contract architecture to make things more efficient or more accessible. But I think if there's any trend that we've proven in tech, it's like usually it's the natives who are accustomed to a technology in their day-to-day lives who are able to build the best possible product. And so I hope that's the case here. I hope we get a whole new generation of huge finance companies that disrupt the banking space the same way software did for kind of everything in the last 20 years and take over the whole world of finance and do that in a much more fair and accessible way. Like this has always been uh, the vision for Web3, but we're kind of finally have the right combination of regulatory environment, tech stack, user experience, tools, where we can really make that happen. And I think that's the future for really all of finance, not just the card space. But yeah, if I'm talking about the more immediate future, it's things like privacy, things like even better UX, more deeply ingrained features with TradFi that let you go easily in and out from one direction or the other. Things like that are probably the most immediate actions.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that totally makes sense. I mean, obviously you have to be on like the same feature parity, right? Or at least like the same type of
Of
UX
course.
and also the experience, because obviously we all grew up in like the digital age, right? Where we have like digital banking. So obviously we need to get something equal or better. And I know that most credit card company, like traditional Web2 and bank company, they also like shell out a lot of rewards, right? For their cards. So obviously have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be
for
like
sure.
at least on the same level and everything, or even better, right? For some, like gotta be something better for them to use. And I think you're right with the security and privacy feature, especially like privacy, right? Because obviously, like in like traditional bank, like if you use a credit card, you don't want to be able to know like, hey, I
Yeah,
use this card, and you don't want to be able to trace back and figure out like how much is actually in the card, right, or be able to spend, right? Yeah, so keep that info
yeah, for
private as
sure,
well. Yeah, yeah,
for
nice. Yeah,
sure.
looking forward to. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Looking forward to a lot of those upcoming changes from your team and other new incumbents into the building like similar products as well. That'll be exciting. Cool. Well, since you've been in Web3 for a pretty long time, do you want any advice that you want to share for we want to break into Web3? Want to enter the
Yeah,
industry?
I think it's a good question. I mean, I think there's so much to learn in this space, but I think the biggest lesson I've taken away in this last 2 years or so is, I think for a long time there was this notion that like you have to build for this very crypto native first culture. And I don't mean to uh, put down those values because I think those values are still extremely important and they're also what drive the best features that we can offer to differentiate from TradFi. Um, but I think don't get too caught up in it is probably my biggest piece of advice. Like people get so caught up in these clout games and like who's the most important and who are you associated with. And the biggest thing I learned from EtherFi is it just doesn't matter. Right? Like if you just focus on what's right in front of you, put one foot in front of the other, take it day by day and grow every single day and build something a little bit better every single day and focus on making a little bit more money every single day and hiring better people every day. Like that's how you make it. And being part of the right narrative and like the right social circle on crypto Twitter, like it might help you raise a VC round, but in the long run, all that's going to matter is if your users love your product and if they're willing to pay for it. And if you just focus on that, like it's kind of Web 2 advice. But I think applying that to Web 3 is really how this space takes the next step. And that's been the thing that's just been marinating with me the most since I joined this company and this kind of culture. So I'd like to pass that on.
Makes sense. Yeah, thanks. I think it's super helpful. I mean, obviously, if you want like a long-lasting product, right? And you said you definitely have to build something people want, and also make it
Yeah.
sticky enough, right? So people come back for it, right? It's not just something that they use it once or use because of incentive or whatever, but they use it because they actually want to use it, right? Instead of like, yeah, it's a very strong factor. So yeah, awesome.
Well
And
said.
well, final question: where can people follow you? Feel free to share any public handles or username.
If you want to find me on Twitter, I'm just at Slater Heil, SlaterHeil. I don't tweet that often, but I try to come in with the occasional marketing and growth insight. The most recent one is that crypto Twitter is overrated. Instagram and YouTube are underrated. If you're a crypto marketer, that's my biggest piece of alpha for you. That's what converts. Crypto Twitter is oversaturated and not a super high conversion audience. Anyways, I post stuff occasionally, but the more important account to follow is just EtherFi. It's Ether_fi. We post all the time, and there's always crazy announcements, new features, new opportunities for users, new seasonal incentives coming out. And so, yeah, just keep up with us there. Tons of new stuff coming out. And yeah, if you want to be involved with our events at Token, we are doing a few events in Singapore at the end of this month, beginning of October. And so we'll be posting a bunch of info about that this week. And remember, yeah, if you're a high enough tier, you could get some of that stuff for free. Some of those bonus events and exclusive events and perks. So get that tier up, follow along. Yeah, hopefully I get to meet some of you guys soon.
Awesome. Yeah, cool. I'll make sure to put all the links in the show note here so people can follow you and also EtherFi
Sweet.
in there. And yeah, thanks. I think it's also very true. You said like Instagram and YouTube is underrated for Web3, right?
It is,
Obviously.
man. It
I
really
think that's
is.
it's true. It's true. Yeah, yeah. Also experience that as well. Yeah. Once again, Slater, it's been a real pleasure having you on the show today, talking about like EtherFi card and where you guys are going. And hope you guys will get to the goal of like 1 billion annual recurring revenue, right? That'll be a really
That's the
impressive
plan.
number. Yeah, that's a plan. Yeah, so really looking forward to that day. Yeah,
Well,
thank you
you're a
for
great
being on
host,
the show.
Lam. I appreciate the time, man. And
Good.
yeah, take care. I'll be following along the show. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers. And we're back to my studio. What do you think about what Slater and his team are building at EtherFi? If you own any crypto cards, please let us know your favorite below. Feel free to use the link in the description as well to get extra sign up bonus for your EtherFi card. For the next episode, we'll be talking to Coco, who is the head of growth and marketing at Goat Gaming, the leading platform for competitive and casual gaming on Telegram with over 6 million active users. Their tools are designed to help creators build fast and reach large audiences, leveraging AI to streamline production, enable distribution, and engage users at scale. If you enjoy this episode, give a like and subscribe. It means a lot to us. Thank you for watching and see you next time.